Wakanda forever.
What's that?
I don't know what I've got. A bit. What?
Wakanda forever.
Black Panther.
Yeah, I thought it was from Black Panther. I've never seen it though.
Bro.
No,
Do you know?
I know
we
Idris
put
Elba
this in the
does it.
fucking pod. What?
Idris Elba plays Black Panther. No.
Oh my god.
No.
Oh my god.
Does he not?
Oh my god. Are you doing this on purpose?
No, genuine.
Oh my god.
I've never seen it.
You're getting cancelled, bro.
Why?
Bro. Because the main guy that played Black Panther died.
Oh right.
And he was like a big like black icon.
Right.
And it's like every like Wakanda Forever is like black people's like, you know, it's like Martin Luther King,
Oh right. Okay.
but Marvel version.
Right.
in a film.
Oh, see, look, this is why from Marvel, I don't watch no.
Oh yeah, I don't know that.
Genuine, nah. Superheroes are not a bit of me, man.
No,
genuinely.
I love a superhero. Can't
Genuinely.
lie. But anyway, welcome back to the podcast. My name is Kai,
My name's Ryan.
and we are back with another episode. It is the new year.
It is the new year, 2023.
Yeah, 2023. Hi guys, we're still in 2022, but
Back to the Future, sort of
yeah,
thing
but,
going on.
yeah,
there, really.
Back to the Future, as Ryan put it. And today we've got an interesting one. What are we doing today, Ryan?
Well, today we want to touch on, obviously, with it being the new year, and with
Yeah.
us, this being released, I think we'll probably be one day into it. I think it'll be the second or something like that.
Yeah, first or second podcast into the year.
Yeah, so we wanted to sort of touch on New Year in general. Sort of you know, people got New Year's resolutions, sort of what we usually do for New Year, what we plan to be doing this year, and sort of kind of like a review on 2022.
Yes,
Just because obviously there's been a lot that's happened for us both, some being good, some being bad.
Definitely.
And there's a few things to touch on in between that.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I haven't actually had that much of a bad year.
I wouldn't say I've had a bad year. There's been bad situations that have happened within the year, but again, I think everyone's had that. So, but
Yeah.
if I think over the average, it's definitely been a very good year.
Good.
So,
Rate that. Me too.
good. Well, what I want to start with really is New Year's resolutions.
Ugh.
Is that something that you partake in?
Ugh.
Do you
No,
partake
not
in
at
them?
all.
No,
Not at all.
I don't.
Because the thing is with me, yeah, like I don't believe in like New Year's resolutions. Like that's for people that like don't stick to stuff.
Yeah.
I don't need to do New Year's resolutions because I'm like, alright, I'm gonna set some goals, I'm gonna do that. Or if I feel like I need to change something in myself, I don't need to wait until the new year to do it. I'm gonna do it today and put that in place. And
Yeah, no, I'm the same as that really. Kind of like where we touched on me not drinking and whatnot, trying to not do it for a year. This would have been a perfect excuse to say, yeah, New Year's resolution, not going to drink for a year. But doing that, you're just prolonging doing something that you should probably do if you want to do it. So for me, I feel like it's the time of the year where people try and justify a change when really they know they need to do it anyway, but they just try and tie it in with the whole resolution thing. So,
Yeah.
It's not really.
Honestly, I think New Year's resolutions, I'm going to sound like an absolute dickhead by saying this. New Year's resolutions are for fucking normies.
Normies.
Yeah.
Is that how people describe?
That is. Oh, fucking. Oh, yeah. Hate me. They're for fucking normies.
Is that what Andrew Tate calls everyone normies? Is that it?
I think he calls them brokies.
Yeah, brokies, and everyone's in the Matrix or no one.
Everyone is. A lot of people are in the Matrix. That is what it is.
So
but
yours is normies. Normies 2023.
No,
do
you know what? I've actually said this since Ibiza. I first said it. I was in a weed cafe. In Ibiza. Shout out to the guys. I doubt you're watching this.
Didn't realise I had them in Ibiza, by the way.
Yeah. And basically, I was sat with someone called Sam Slatery. He's a drummer. He's a main drummer at Ocean, and he's also touring with Nathan Dorr. Shout out to Sam. And basically, we sat down having a conversation. I think I was like moaning about someone doing something and the type of mindset and them not understanding something, kind of, you know, in an entrepreneurial kind of industry kind of setting. I can't remember exactly what it is. And it just came out of my mouth and I was like, oh, these fucking normies. Because it's like, to the average person, like, their thinking is different to it's not just me.
No, there's a bunch of people.
It may seem like it's just me.
To you at the time.
But there's a lot of other people who think like me.
Yeah.
But obviously, to you guys and to people that know me around the area, like you just see it as me.
Yeah,
but then there's other people in other areas who see them as that as well, and then when we all come together, we all think alike, and then do you know what I'm saying?
So where people just say, oh, you know, that's just Kai. There's a bunch of people.
There's also people who also get it. It's like, no, I know where it's coming from.
So expect to hear normies a lot more throughout the year.
You're not. I've got some.
Have I got a specific word?
No. I'm taking you out of the normies. Where Ryan's not going to be a normie by the end of next year. 2024, Ryan's not going to be a normie.
I'm still alive.
Your toes are out. Your toes are out. Your toes are here, out that line.
Right. Okay.
My toes are out. I'm still.
I'd prefer if no one's toes are out.
I'm still.
You're so wrong. Can everyone's toes high? Like,
no, but what I'm saying.
I get you. You're kind of on
you've crossed the matrix, out there. And what I call a normie is just kind of like the sheep mentality.
Oh, so just people that just fit into society.
That's basically what I mean by the term normie.
People that don't want to push the boundaries and see where they can go.
Basically, that's what I mean by that.
I get you. Right. Okay. Well, one thing that I think is good from our perspective to kind of go into for the listeners and the watchers of the podcast is sort of our plans for the year. So what we're planning to do, sort of where we plan to be, and sort of just go over what we're looking at really for 2023 for the weekly check-in, because I know obviously setting it up we were quite vague. We were quite vague on how it came about, what our structure and schedule looked to be like. But really, I just thought diving into that a little bit more, so you guys sort of know what the plan will be and sort of when you can see us, how often, and all that good sort of stuff, really. So
well, you lead.
I lead. I'm seeing your teeth just come out more and more. I'm like, is he going to talk?
No. Do you know what it was? This is going to sound so bad. So basically, obviously, you guys can't see, but there's actually a mirror like behind the camera, and so I just looked at myself and smiled. And that's
Well, regarding the schedule of the podcast, at the minute, upload is every Sunday, aiming to be about 6 o'clock. Depending on what time we can get the podcast out.
So I'm showing him something on Instagram. I'm sorry.
Can't see that. But we're looking to upload regularly every Sunday at 6 o'clock. We are looking to try and make these uploads more consistent.
Yes.
And in the process of doing so, you will see videos come midweek. These could be things like our boxing podcast that we touch on, maybe certain social events, as Kai does his lovely video, and just more sort of time-censored topics that we want to talk on. We make sure that those come out sort of quicker.
Did you mention that we want to get on like owners of businesses?
No, so we've not touched on that. One thing that we do want to dive into as well is talking to people that own businesses in the local area. Trying to get sort of their stories of where they've come from, what they've come from, sort of how they've got to where they are, and just hear their experiences and see if there's anything that they could maybe give advice-wise that could really help people out. So there's a few different ideas that we've spoken about, which I think could be really good, but that's just sort of a touch of where we are and what we're looking at as one of the potential segues that we can venture into.
100%.
Yeah.
Sorry. We want to get on some feminists, we want to get on some transgenders, we want to get on some religious people, we want to get some skilled people on, we want to get all sorts of people on the podcast, we want to talk to people, we want to learn. And we also want to bring exposure to topics that people don't really like kind of come across.
Maybe feel comfortable to talk about, or maybe have got sort of limited information where we can give our 2 cents.
Pretty much. If
that means anything to you guys, then great. If it doesn't, then just leave it running, just mute the video during it. So,
yes.
If you could do that, that'd be great. So what's your sort of take on it as well? Is it just sort of mirroring my thoughts of what were your sort of plans originally when we put this together? I know obviously we found our way.
So I was really excited, and I must say I'm really loving doing the podcast. I really do enjoy it. I feel like every single time we shoot, we're learning and we're taking stuff away, and obviously, you know, like some podcasts will be different, and you know, it's because we're trying to find our niche. We have to grow into it, sort of thing. And we was kind of aware of that at the start. And I definitely feel like I feel like we're doing everything that we said we would do, to be fair.
I think so. I think we're being very consistent to this point. Obviously, you guys will have only seen a certain amount of episodes, but we've shot many.
Episodes,
we've shot a fair few. So when you see a change in whether it be the setup or maybe how we are on the podcast, just know it's based on criticisms that we've maybe got of each other or podcasts
and other people
and sort of working off that. So please do let us know your thoughts in the comments. As always, it really does help.
Check you, hey, right, is that you? Yeah, is that you? Yeah,
it's flowing.
But yeah,
you threw me off now.
We want to know your thoughts in the content, boom.
Yeah, no, 100%. Because the interaction is exactly what we're doing this for. We're looking to sort of increase the conversation between us and those watching.
And, definitely. Like we want to get like a community going, and like at the end of the day, like it's the community thing. It's like we want to speak to people about conversations and have conversations. We want to learn, we want to share experiences, we want to hear what other people have to say, we want to discuss topics they want us to talk about, sort of thing, and that's just what it is. And as far as I'm aware, no one else in our area kind of does a podcast.
Not that we've looked at when we're
so hopefully this will be something kind of nice to kind of bring that community together, and like our local kind of community, and hopefully people enjoy listening to us chat shit.
Exactly that in a nutshell. Well, we've touched on what we're looking at for the year, but one thing that we haven't touched on is what our year's been like. So
our personal year.
So I wanted to get a rundown.
Was we talking about our personal year then?
No. That's sort of what we're looking at podcast-wise. And then I want to do a review on sort of how our year's been. So I want to start with you, because throughout the past year, I know our friendship's got a lot closer, especially towards the back end.
The proper back end.
A lot of back end friendliness.
The back end has definitely got stronger.
But no, going back to it, our friendship's definitely got stronger towards the fourth quarter of the year.
But I feel like,
fourth quarter.
Do you know what? I feel like this is, I think for men especially, I think girls are different. Not that matters, but I feel like for men to be close with each other, they have to have something in common that they're doing. They're either working together on something, or they're kind of I don't want to say beneficial to each other's lives.
No, but we touched on this, and I completely agreed with you.
Those are the best kind of friendships I have. When you're working on something together, or you're beneficial to someone's lives, or you can do something together, and this is our thing that we're now doing together, and that's brought us closer, and where we're having to work on something and have like cool discussions, and how can we get better, and what's going to help us improve doing this and that. By default, we're having like good conversations, and we're talking about each other's lives and this and that, and we're seeing each other a lot more regular, so by default that would definitely bring us closer, and it's been nice.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's kind of like if you had a project at school, if you had to work with a certain person, you obviously know more about that person. Yeah. Due to the certain amount of time that you have to spend with them to be able to complete it and whatnot. And with this being an exciting project that we both discussed, and it's something that you touched on previously, so I sort of knew where your thought process would be on it. And obviously you knew with me coming to you about the idea where my head was with it.
I think I was really glad, like, after when you text me saying like, do you want to do a podcast, I was like, yes. Like, I was like, that was like a
light bulb moment sort of thing, where it's like,
that felt really good as well, because it was like, I don't know, just my intuition was like, do it.
Yeah, perfect. So looking at sort of January of 2022 for you, what were you looking at the year to be? What were you projecting? Where were you looking to try and be?
The January,
because I know you're a very optimistic person. So exactly how you are this year, you would have been last year. So I just kind of want to get a feel for sort of where you wanted to be, and what you was expecting to be at in. So
January 2022, January 1st, I went and climbed the mountain in Wales, Mount Snowdon. I wanted to start the year off,
ready.
Yeah, I was like, I felt spiritual. I was like, yes, I need to go climb this mountain. What a fucking way to start the year. This is going to be one of the greatest years of my life. And yes, it definitely has. So for me, that was, I had some goals that I'd wrote down. A lot of them I have achieved. Some of them I've been just short of. It's not the end of the year yet, but there's only like 7-8 days left. No, this is the new year, but we're filming it. And what was the question? Like, what was my goals?
Sort of like, what was your outlook on, or what you were planning to have your year looking like? Sort of, what was you expecting to have done by the end of it? And
by the end of the year, so my goals were win the championships, be completely self-employed, because I've had my company, but I wasn't self-employed, if that makes sense. Yeah. So my company was a limited company, but I was still just nothing. Yeah. And so I wanted to be completely self-employed and also a freelancer as well. And then I wanted to read 12 books. I wanted to visit 2 countries. I wanted to make more positive and healthy friendships. I wanted to travel and explore new places, and I wanted to produce more content of my travels, life, funny videos and boxing.
Right, now, when you're watching this, you're going to think Kai's looking at his phone a lot. There's a specific reason to why he's looking at his phone when he says this.
It's because basically I wrote a list of my goals on my phone, and it's been on the front of it since...
That's been your screensaver for a while, probably the entire year.
Yeah, the whole entire year that's been on the front of my phone.
So that's where it comes into sort of manifestation and all that sort of stuff. I'm looking at that every day, sort of that being the first thing you see when you look at your phone. Yeah. That being a constant reminder.
Yeah, and so, obviously the year took... It's weird because it's like, it kind of all happened naturally, It's like I didn't have to really try to make... I mean, obviously I've had to try, like I've had to work hard in situations, but it's like everything, doors just opened, and it was like, oh my God, like...
It was a chain reaction to the work you were putting in, basically.
Basically.
The work and the effort you were putting in, you were getting rewards. I wouldn't say quite quickly, it was just it was a reflection of the work you were putting in, essentially, why the doors were opening.
And like just the way everything worked out, because obviously at the beginning of the year, I was still living in a caravan down in Cornwall.
Yeah.
And then
because it was a bit of a hard end to the year for you as well, I guess, from the point of view that you were far away from everything that you knew. You were in a location where obviously you had found your feet, but was still foreign to you. Yeah. So going into a year with that sort of perspective, that could get to a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, don't get twisted. Like obviously traveling, being in a toxic relationship at the time, training and obviously trying to elevate my career and this and that. It was difficult. There was definitely a lot on my plate, but I can't complain because it was like I was still living in a caravan next to the sea and having such a unique kind of experience. But that kind of period of life for me was for me to like kind of get in touch with myself and for me to really kind of figure out what I wanted in life. And I got the answers that I wanted from that. And so kept coming into the new year, was still down in Cornwall, relationship was in pieces, and my granddad actually had a stroke, and I came back to be with my family. A stupid decision, but I'm glad that I made it. I didn't need to come back. It was just completely anyway, came back and that was that, and then I ended up getting busy here, which I kind of felt like I knew was going to happen, and then I got an opportunity to go to Ibiza for 3 days. I broke up with my ex, was obviously working here, still doing my thing.
Just as we're going for the time, like the timeline of it all, at what point did you return from sort of Cornwall permanently, of going down there around February time?
February, March time.
Right, okay.
And then I was here for a bit, just like, doing trainings and videos, went down to Cornwall to pick up my caravan because I left it there, then came back, sold it. A week later, brought a laptop so I could edit on the go. A week later, I went to Ibiza for 3 days for a job. That opportunity that I got out there with Axel, and then I said to myself, fuck it, I'm going to go for it. I didn't have that much money because obviously I just got back from travelling. I lost a lot of money on the caravan, lost a lot of money. I'd spent a lot of money to go travelling. Like, it wasn't like cheap, it wasn't cheap being in Cornwall where you have to drive so far, and I had like a 2.4 litre 4x4 car.
With petrol being like £1.80 a litre.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it was expensive. Then I'm like paying for basically everything, and then whatever. And then yeah, so I didn't have that much money when I went out to Ibiza, and I was pretty nervous about it. I didn't have like the greatest camera at the time either, but I kind of just said to myself, I'm gonna go for it, and I need to just believe in myself. And
that's literally what you had. That was the only thing you had at that time, was your self-belief. Because touching on it from my perspective, this is where me and you become a bit closer, because that was when I think just out of the blue one day when I was driving to a work visit, I actually gave you a call because I knew that you were out there and I hadn't had a chance to catch up with you properly, and sort of I was intrigued to know how you were getting on, sort of just how you were, because being out there by yourself, that's quite a daunting thing. I know Kai is someone that, you know, he will happily go off and work by himself, but go into a different country where people don't speak English as their first language, it's quite a daunting thing to try and sort of find your way around. Also business propositions is a bit hard if some people don't really speak English as well. So
it was a great experience because there was a lot of fear involved. I learned so much about myself through this experience. So me not having money was very scary, because being in another country and not having that much money is like, you know, it's scary. And it's at Ibiza as well. Ibiza is fucking expensive, and so the first like 2-3 weeks I'm like just staying in hotels, right, and like my money is like
depreciating quickly,
like very quickly, and there's no shops, like it's not like I'm doing cooking, I'm eating out and this and that. And so basically the first week or two, 9 hours a day, I'm walking around to every single business, going in, showing them my videos. Do you want videos? Do you want this? Do you want that? And eventually it just started picking up. The first hotel I was at, I said to them, like, could I do your social media in exchange for some stay? And they said no. So I just went and shot them a video anyway. I showed them the video and they was like, oh my God, we really like that. Yeah, like you can stay for longer for free. And then just kept going, and then jobs started coming in, and then eventually just started getting like bigger clients. On like the first or second day, Wayne Lineker, he basically came to pick up a girl that I was with, because he was taking her out to dinner, and basically he recognised me. He was like, oh, you're like Kai, like you're Faris's mate, sort of thing. He's like, oh, do you want to like come shoot some videos for me and this and that? And I was like, yeah, and then that was wicked, and then I got into that kind of circle, and then I just kept on kind of growing. But I kind of came away from that circle because I realised that circle is more, you're doing it for a tag, and you're doing it for the kind of popularity and that kind of thingy, more than like you're not going to be paid. Which is totally fair enough. I respect that. But for me, business and being paid is more important than people knowing who I am.
Because there's a world in where, like you said, that sort of trade-off for the popularity or whatever that would be is worth the squeeze of actually doing the jobs. But where you were at that point in time, and knowing you and how you work, obviously that's not why you did the job. The job was money.
100%. Because I'm not really someone that, like, to me, being famous, like it, or being popular, like it, I know that it's not going to actually benefit my life, like people knowing who I am. Like you may get like more opportunities because people come your way, but the money, the real money, doesn't come through being popular and famous. But yeah, so that was happening, and I found somewhere to stay. Obviously as well, like I kept on just staying there because I had a court case in August that I knew about, where I was up for GBH section 18, which is the worst section, even though I pleaded guilty to the section 20, even though I wish I didn't plead guilty, because I wouldn't have got a criminal record for that. But there was a chance that I could have gone to prison for up to like 12 years, which is was very daunting, and like the thought that my freedom was going to be taken away from me, I said I may not get this kind of chance to do this again. And I just stayed there as long as I could, and it was very stressful at moments, and I learned a lot about myself. So I ended up staying in a hostel. I met this girl, a dancer, at a shoot at a club, and she said, "Oh, this lady, message her. She's got rooms." And it was in this hostel, and I messaged her. She didn't have anything at first, but then she did, and then I ended up staying there for like maybe 2.5 months, maybe even longer, for the rest of my time there. And so basically, when I was in this hostel, it was actually quite loud at night, and like you'd hear like a lot of doors like banging and slamming, and I never actually realised like that I had like PTSD from like everything that I've kind of gone through and experienced. And sometimes at night I'd be like waking up, heart pounding, like thinking like someone's going to come and attack me.
You get like night terrors and
and these are all like little things that I had to deal with that I was just so not even like,
while being alone, sort of isolated again in a foreign country as well. It's not an easy thing to do. It's not like you can go speak to someone as standard as you would, because obviously you've got the language barrier that obviously but that's just like a little, there's so many different things, and I'm just glad that I had that experience, because I've learned so much. You came back different after that.
You think?
I think you came back massively different, because seeing you in, was it May of this year that Asa got engaged? Oh, sorry, May of 2022.
Yeah.
It's when Asa got engaged, wasn't it? And I remember seeing you then, and then comparing you to after. You were two different people. I think you've probably acknowledged sort of maybe your point of view and your opinion has sort of changed from where it was, maybe that you've matured through these experiences, which is sort of why they've been so vital to you to do, and kind of why people should accept these opportunities if they do ever arise.
Yeah.
Just because they may not be there again if you don't do it.
Yeah, well, something that I learned is like, when you go travelling, your experience with other people will kind of be like a reflection of how you are.
How good because that's what a lot of people talk on. My friend Chris, he went travelling, and the one thing that he always talks on is how sort of great the people were that he met. So I could see how that would work, because that's who you spend a lot of your time with, and they're the sort of things where, it's first week I met so-and-so, next week I met this really nice person, and you do attach memories to the person.
It's true, and when you're in a situation or environment like that, the kind of, you're either partying, and I partied a little bit at the start, but once you get past that, you are doing things with people and you have conversation, like you just naturally go to the small talk just bypasses, you get to it sort of thing. And I had a lot of great experiences. Obviously I can go so deep into it, but there's no point because don't have enough time for that. But and then I came back 2 days before my court. Had my court, thought I was actually going to go to prison. That was fucking scary, because I got not told off, but sort of told off in the courtroom, because my barrister made like a joke and I laughed, and the judge
wouldn't go down well.
Yeah, he was not happy about that. So I got sentenced to 3 years initially, but because of my charity work, because my company provides work for people, because of my good character references, because of the letter that I wrote the judge, and because it was my first offence, they reduced it to 1 year, 2 years suspended sentence, and then I was like, But at first, like before we had a break, I can't remember what was said, but he was like, it was like an indication of like, you're going to jail sort of thing.
It was squeaky bum time.
It was
squeaky
like,
bum time.
I was nervous. My mum and aunt was there. They was sort of like upset. My lawyer and my barrister came out silent. Like we just sat there like, shit, this is not going well. And I just started texting my cousin like all my passwords to everything.
I remember you saying this. That's the first thing.
Like everyone I had to like pay out, or this or that. Just every piece of information I was sending to my cousin, because obviously she was gonna have to pan it out for me for us to go inside.
From the past 2 years, obviously traveling's been such a big focal point within those years. Would you encourage people to go travelling at every given opportunity if that's fine?
Yeah. So I don't know if it's being at a home thing, but you get into this like routine of like, just things are done in such a thingy way. But when you're out there, when you're traveling, it's like there's no kind of rules. It's just, if someone comes to you and says, oh, you want to do this, and it sounds like a great idea, you go and do it, and you have like the best time of your life, and you have great conversations, and you learn stuff, and like just the tiniest things that you learn, and it's just like,
it's kind of like the lack of schedule that you would usually have at home isn't there.
Well, that's what it is. But 100% to answer your question, yes, I think people should go travelling. I 100% don't want to live in London for the rest of my life, and as soon as I really solidly build my base, which we will talk about next year and this and that, I will be out of here, because being in another country, with just not being in your home country, I don't know what it is, but it just does something to your mind. It just unlocks something.
You gain further perspective, I think, for one, which is sort of the culture change, the work ethic as well, maybe, that where you're going to, but it's also a sense of, I don't belong here, so I need to earn the right to belong here. If that makes sense. Like, you kind of have to show your worth to where you are for it to validate you being there.
It's true, because, so say for example, like, you know, like when foreigners, they come on holiday here, that's such a
I get what you're saying.
Just foreign people, they come on holiday here, they end up doing more fun stuff than what people actually do than in London living here. We're like, how did you find out about that?
I always say that. I do always say I don't get why people holiday in London, because for me, I live here, I don't see it.
But this is it. So when you go elsewhere, you have to analyse the chessboard. You're like, okay, what business is it? So this is obviously for me, maybe not a lot of people. People travelling, that you'll probably save up money and just go places, and you probably won't look at it like this, but you look at, okay, cool, so what businesses are here, what kind of people are here, what places are busy, what's not, what's going on everywhere. You analyse things. But when you're in your hometown, it's like you're in La La Land. You're in autopilot.
You got your blinkers on.
Yeah,
you can't see
autopilot. You're relaxed. You know where everything is. You know where everyone is. You're just like, oh yeah, this is home.
It's being comfortable, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's that sense of just being comfortable to the point where you don't you don't have the need to look further. Yeah. You kind of just look where you're going, and that's what it is.
And so that is something really that I took back from me as well. Also, another thing is like, so being more on point with my advertising, the things I learned creatively, like it was like my brain, like I can't even explain it to you.
Certain things made sense that may not have made sense.
I can tell you about the defining moments, but I cannot tell you exactly how it clicked. I can tell you when it was this moment, this was said to me, this was explained to me. I can tell you everything like that, but it's hard to explain the switch on and how I understood it, because before I went to Ibiza, it was like I could shoot videos, but it was sort of off. But then when I went there, because like the demand is so when you work with a company out there, it's like their videos, they need it, like, because it's so busy out there and it directly impacts their business so much, like, and it's so on point. It's just different to kind of, well, I thought it was different. Now it's not. Now I'm working with different companies here. It's not so different.
It's the type of people you work with now, I think, where you've sort of learned the qualities that people abroad had and the people you work with over there, and you've gone, right, you remind me of this person, so I know where you're at.
Yeah, and so, for example, my storytelling wasn't as good before I went to Ibiza, but then while I was working in Ibiza, because I got so much feedback and because I worked so much and done so many videos and got so much feedback on every single video and change this and change that, that is like a huge lesson in itself. And now I'm shooting for promotional videos for like companies and this and that and blah blah blah, and it's just on point. It's just, they're like, yeah, love this, yeah, that's sick. And my crew, like, I was not able to do what I can do now before, and just I'm very thankful that I...
You've learnt a lot, for sure. 100%. You've definitely learnt a lot. When I think if you can look back on your year and your sort of overwhelming thing is, I'm glad I did this. You know, I've learnt a lot, and it's helped me moving forward. That's all you can ask for from any life experience.
100%. And Ibiza was a great time, a lot of fun. It was very hard work. I put a lot of pressure on myself, but it was great. And I met some amazing people. And I formed some amazing friendships, and you don't even realise how amazing they are until you're gone, and you start missing like the moments that.
It's because they're impactful. It's how impactful they are. You know, some friends you make in life, they're not going to be your best friends, but that friendship for that moment in time impacted you in a certain way, where a friendship for 10 years may never have done so, just because of what that offered you at that point in time and what you gained from that. And it can mean a lot more.
It's true. And just quickly before we go on to your year, like so I'll give you an example. Like there was these two guys called Aitor and Matthias, and these guys, when I met them, Matthias fucking wound me up so much. He was so annoying, but he's like my little brother now. And Aitor, he's a bit older than me, and he's just great energy, just good vibes, and he's an underwater photographer, and we kind of came together, and these guys helped me so much with my work. They sat down and they brainstormed with me. They helped me make business cards while I was out there. Aitor helped me find a printing place to do it. I made business cards out there. He then went to the other side of Ibiza with me and helped me like hand out like business cards to yacht companies and shit. These guys really helped me. They gave me honest feedback.
It's like they believed in you.
It was what it was. And like, they was really helping me, and it actually makes me a bit emotional thinking about it, because it's like, that's just so fucking nice, and that memory and that moment of like, just like I'm working my ass off every day, like editing, and they see me every day working, and it's just like, and they really did support me, and we ended up going out and just we had this like this group of this friendship that just formed, and it was just pure.
It seems and sounds very pure. Because a lot of people in this world, knowing it or not at the time, a lot of people want something from you, which is quite sad. I think a lot of people look to see what they can gain and what someone offers them to see if they're beneficial to them, and sort of you would have experienced that with past friendships or work relationships. So when you do find those pure sort of bonds, when you when you find them and go, they didn't have anything to stand to gain from me, but they were still so helpful. I think that in itself, it goes a lot longer and a lot further than many other things could.
100%. And that's just, those are memories that I'll take with me for life. Tell us about your year. So how did it start off, and what was your goals coming into the year, and how did things formulate, and what's your journey been like this year?
This year, I'll be honest with you, it started with a lot of learning about myself. At the back end of last year, well, I learned sort of how to be a lot more accepting of who I was as a person. Last year was something that I questioned.
That's something that I've actually realised about you. Just an internal thought I've had, is that you're very at peace with yourself.
I'm a lot more accepting of who I am. I think over the years I've always been someone that's been, I don't know if I say keen to fit in, but always kind of give off the impression that I don't care when really I do. And obviously that is great, looks great, but when you're alone and you're spending time with yourself and doing whatever needs to be done, that's the point where that can really get you. So I started off the year with a lot of sort of learning to do about myself, who I am, sort of learning sort of who I am again, if that makes sense. It might sound weird to some people, but just sort of being at peace with yourself and being like, right, I'm this person. I know this might be a flaw, but that's who I am. And if it's something I want to work on, right, I acknowledge it and potentially work on it, and that's kind of how the year started off for me. So obviously, as you know, I got into a relationship, something that I definitely wasn't looking for at the time.
Was the day you met her when we was out in Epsom?
No. So
did you know her from before?
I didn't know her from before. So the first time I actually ever met Ella was in December of last year on 21. An annual. 21. So I actually bumped into her. She had a boyfriend at the time. My friend Georgia was going out with one of her friends, so it was more just I bumped into them. I was absolutely bladdered, not knowing who anyone was, and that was sort of like the first encounter of, I said hello to my friend. She was with Ella and her sister. I just said hello sort of thing, and that was actually the first encounter. Obviously at the time you don't think anything of it, because it's like, all right, well, I'm drunk, so off I go. And that was kind of it. That sort of shows a reflection of who I was. I'd be drinking to the point where I'd want to just kind of forget.
Yeah.
Which is quite bizarre, which is kind of why I've given up the whole drinking thing. But that's mine and Ella's first interaction together. So yeah, as I was going through the year, I was going through physio for my knee at the time because I just had an operation on my knee.
Yeah.
So I was kind of finding myself again, and I think that in itself is quite an isolating period. So again, a lot of the learning that I had to do, prime time, I can't really move anywhere, I can't go anywhere, so I was alone a lot. So that's kind of where that all came from, I think.
So it's like a distraction, almost like a distraction was removed from your life.
Yeah, me being able to go out and do what I want really
face yourself more often than
100%. That's exactly what it is. When I had my reconstructive knee surgery, I couldn't drive, I could barely walk, and it really made me have to face this head on with the things that I didn't like, because I was stuck with it every day. So yeah, that's kind of how the start of the year went. I soon found out from my friend that Ella didn't have a boyfriend anymore. I had to slide in DMs, and it kind of went from there. So this was sort of around like February time, sort of end of February, and then March it got to her birthday. So as a boy you do, you send flowers, happy birthday, this, that and the other.
Okay.
I actually thought I had the bollocks to walk up to her door with it, and I thought about doing it. I thought, nah, I'm alright, no one's expecting me here, no one knows who I am. And it kind of...
Did you do it?
No, I sent them. Imagine knocking on a girl's door that you've only just started talking to. Dad answers, hello, like, I'm here to speak to your daughter that doesn't know I'm here.
That would have been nice. I think if I had a daughter and a guy knocked the door with flowers, I'd be like, you are allowed to speak to my daughter.
That is the correct way of thinking, 100%.
Yeah.
But I shit myself. So what you're saying is completely right. That's definitely the way to go about it.
The thought definitely counted.
The thought did count.
You still sent her flowers, bro. I've never sent a girl flowers in my life.
Oh, but flowers are a good thing to send, man. I brought flowers. Touching on it, flowers are something you should never give to apologise, ever.
Why?
Because then you create a negative connotation about flowers ever being given. But it's always for an apology as opposed to something good. So imagine you've got a girlfriend.
I just give them the good wood and say, sorry babes, this is alright now.
No, imagine having a girlfriend and she only cooked dinner for you or only be nice to you when she's done something wrong.
Yeah, that
then creates a negative thing around it all. It's kind of like how people get into like their bad eating habits. Yeah. Because it's like being rewarded for something bad is just a bad system to ever get into. So that's why you never give girls flowers if you've done something wrong, because it creates a bad feeling. So never do it, guys. Just buy them flowers.
Go on with the
so it went from there. Never brought her the flowers to give in person and had them sent. Kept going on dates. I was speaking to her every single day since I found out she didn't have a boyfriend anymore.
Good man.
And that progressed quite quickly. One thing that I struggled with before was kind of having reciprocated energy that I was giving people. So for me, if I thought that I liked someone, I'd give the energy out that I'd want back. And I can honestly say that Ella's the only person that's ever reciprocated it in the way that I sort of gave the energy out. And at that point I kind of just realised like, this girl's gonna be my girlfriend. I know she is. And then in April is when I actually asked her to be my missus. So going strong, we're 8 months in, so the choice. And then after that, it was the first birthday I ever had with a girlfriend, and my review really is just highlights of doing things with my girlfriend. Yeah, but
if that is something to you that you treasure a lot, and that those are highlights to you, then that is definitely great. This is relationship.
No, 100%. I think having a girlfriend, for me, when you find the right person, it makes you want to be better. Yeah, and that's something that I've noticed throughout the course of the year. Like I went to the theatre with her. I don't go to the theatre. Yeah. Like I'm not that guy. But for the sake of her, it was let's make her happy. Like let's go do this. And now I'm not going to the theatre. I want to make her happy. You and your mum go. I'll pay for the tickets. I'm not sitting through it again. Yeah. But really the year for me, not only sort of progressing with work, getting more sort of settled in within the company and sort of growing as a salesman and whatnot, it's also been accompanied by experiences with my girlfriend and sort of trying to be a better person throughout it. And it was actually conversations with her which kind of led to me messaging you about this whole podcast thing. So obviously, as a relationship goes on, you speak more and more and more about certain interests and certain things you want to start. And I mentioned to Ella at the time, I said, look, I've actually been on a podcast before, because we were watching a podcast. She was like, oh, like, would you ever want to do it? That's when I went into the one that we were on, when we spoke with our friends, and I said, yeah, that's actually something that I'd love to do. It's something that I always listen to throughout my day at work, because with me driving a lot, it's, you know, you've got to kill time somewhere, and my vocal cords can't last 6 hours of singing a day, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, for me, we kind of dived into the idea of that, and she kind of made it seem like an obvious thing to me, and it was so clear and obvious to message you, and it seemed so stupid that I hadn't done it before. So
but that's good. Sometimes you just need that little bit of encouragement.
Yeah, exactly that, and it makes you go, why the fuck have I not done this yet? Like, why not? Like, why am I waiting? So that's kind of like an overview from my year. I've learned a lot about myself. I've gained a lot of courage to, I think, explore things that may be a little bit out of my comfort zone.
What
and
kind
also
of things?
I think, like, public speaking, I hate public speaking, right? Public speaking ain't a thing that I like doing, but there's certain things that I've had to do for work where it's kind of pushed those boundaries a bit, and I've gone, do you know what? Public speaking isn't a problem as long as you know what you're talking about. So it's kind of the work that then has to go into the back end that's more sort of intimidating than doing the thing itself. But yeah, just little things like that, man, really, where I've just sat there and gone, well, kind of like you had with your year, kind of go for anything that comes up. That's kind of now my mentality is, don't ever be afraid to be shy or, you know, not know something. It's the willingness to want to learn that will make you better. So
that right there, it's the willingness to want to be better that will make you better. I think that's what you said.
That wasn't why. That sounds better than what I said. So that's what I said, which is exactly why we want guests on here that we can learn from, that have a story to tell. Because there's a lot of people out there that have got stories to tell, and
how they got into it's so true.
And it will also help us form different points of view on how we see life. So it's really going to be an experience that we can all learn from, and
that is so great. Honestly,
it's going to be good, man. So I'm buzzing for it, and I know you are too.
So 100%, because when you know, conversations are so impactful. High level conversations are impactful anyway. You know, I personally believe conversations change people's lives, because my life has been changed through conversation. You know, just you speak to people, you feel motivated, you learn stuff, and it's like, for me, that's how I learn everything, is through conversations, is through speaking to people. I
completely agree. When someone says something I think timing of the conversation plays a massive part to how impactful it is. Because if something's said at the right time, it can change your life more than you ever think. Like when I was in a really down period and I was actually staying at Aces, there was something Lee was saying to me at the time, because my mental health has been up and down for over the years, and there was something that Lee said to me at the time, and it was, your brain never wants you to win. It loves a place of comfort. So you have to fight back against it. And that might be something that sounds so simple, but when you're in such a down place and the way you're looking at life is bad.
When you're like halfway down a spiral, it's not as simple as just, right, I'm gonna get up to it. It's not, but you do have to force yourself to.
Of course. Which is where his family helped me out a lot, obviously. Living there, I was working out sort of every day, going on walks and whatnot, and it was kind of just more accepting at the time what I thought was important wasn't as important as what I was putting pressure on. But this wasn't last year, that was the year before. So that's just to touch on it. Those sort of little experiences, they hold so much weight in who you become without you even noticing them.
But they're defining moments. And I always say to people, like, you can only join the dots up when you look backwards. So it's 100%. Like, while you're in the moment, you
never makes sense.
You don't know the gravity of the situation you're in.
Which is why people always say, why is this happening to me? It doesn't make sense.
But then once you start looking back, it's like, that was such a huge moment for me.
That came at the perfect time.
100%.
Yeah, definitely. But that's just to touch on sort of where we've been in the past year.
I think that was a really good conversation.
I think so.
I really enjoyed that.
Again, this is the reason why we've got together to do this, because
100%. And
allocating certain time slots to your friends, that might not seem like it's a how do you want to put it? It may not seem like it's a natural conversation, if you like, but I know being put in a room with you, there's so many things we talk about off camera, and it's like these are conversations that need to be had that we wouldn't have had if we weren't together doing this. So
it's true. And the thing, you know, the craziest thing is like, I think we've been speaking for maybe about an hour now.
Yeah, we have.
Which is calm. This maybe just end up in a podcast, but the fact that like we're just on this subject and we could have gone even more.
Oh yeah, there's a lot more in it. Yeah.
This sort of having so much, maybe we can go even deeper into stuff like sometimes, and we just pick one thing to speak about and we can speak about it for like an hour. Yeah. So we can get deep.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But yeah, no, this has been.
I think it's been very. Yeah, I think it's definitely good. It's always good to vent out feelings, things you've learned, and stuff like that as well.
Before we go on to the next part of our podcast, I want to ask you two things.
Go on.
I wanted to ask, did you have goals coming into this year, preset? And also, I do want to ask what your goals are for next year.
Yeah.
This year coming on.
Goals coming into the year.
You could do the 2022 ones first if you had any.
It was just to be a better person.
Yeah.
I think it was to gain a better understanding of who I was and be okay with change.
Yeah.
Which is something that I think I've definitely accepted and sort of adapted to that, if you like. So that was definitely sort of the only plan. I didn't put any sort of financial structure on it or whatnot. It was kind of more just a self-learning process really for me, which I feel like I've definitely done. What about yourself for it? What was if you can pinpoint the main one, because I know you've got a list of things, but
the main one.
What was your main thing? So if you could maybe summarise them all into one thing, would it be sort of to better your understanding of life?
Grow as like a businessman. Yeah, that would be it, essentially.
If you could summarise, that would be your main thing.
My main goal was to grow as a businessman and as doing what I'm doing, and I definitely feel like I've grown so much into who I am, because I feel like there was so many questions before of like I would double. It was weird. It was like I always knew who I wanted to be or who I was, but I wasn't sure. Yeah. But now I know I'm definitely that person.
You'd always like double take yourself.
Yeah,
like, is that
but
right?
now I'm like
right?
Yeah, but now I'm so like, this is it.
So kind of like me then. In a sense, you've just learned who you are and also just said, I'm unapologetically myself.
Yeah, this is just how I am.
If you don't like it, that's not my problem. Yeah, no.
But it's like
the strength in that by itself is a massive thing, by the way.
Yeah, your energy changes so much because you do things with conviction. Yeah. Like when you do things, it's like, yes, I'm doing that. Yeah. Where like before you're like, not sure this, but
yeah, like to summarise with the podcast, this is something I never ever would have thought about doing last year.
Yeah.
Like in 2021 or something, you know, because for me, I was on a process where I was on a journey where people's opinions really mattered to me. So, people potentially, the thought of people putting you down, for me, I would have been like, no, I'll stay away from that. Whereas now, I could not care. So yeah. What about going into the new year then, for you? Again, if we look at, you've got the book.
So today I went to Reigate Viewpoint.
Yep.
I brought myself a McDonald's. I went and sat in a van that I'm being lent by a company that I'm shooting a promotional video for. Cheers, Steve. And
thank you very much, Steve.
Yes.
I was not in that van, but thank you for helping my friend.
And so I just sat and I had a moment to myself because I just haven't had a moment to myself in a while. I've always been a bit.
You've been so preoccupied recently with boxing as well. I think it's nice for you to sort of take a bit of time out of.
And it's weird because I just sat there and I got a headache. But I just chilled out, put some like classical music on and whatever. So I've got a few So I've got a few goals. I've got my primary goals, and then I've got things that like I want to do and buy and achieve sort of thing. So the next year,
Sorry, I am reading over these, so I do apologise.
Yeah. But so this year was the best year of my life, and the next year is going to be the best year of my life too. 2.0. But yeah, so next year is going to be the year of the beardo. I am the beardo, and obviously my company is also beardo. and it's going to be the most financially successful year to come. My goals are to make £100,000, to win a championships, to travel to Egypt and see the pyramids, to go skydiving. I want to go to Dubai and Israel for business and work. I want to start therapy. I want to do some charity work in Africa. I want to buy a new watch that I've already actually I've already gone to Harrods.
I think that's always a good goal, by the way. I think rewarding yourself for the hard work is always a good reminder to stay hungry. So I think goals like that and that, for example, because I did that this year, which I didn't touch on, but they're great things to reward the hard work you're doing, which I think is always key to do, because you can get so caught up and not enjoy the success while it comes. So I definitely think they're great things to do, for sure.
Thank you. The watch that I've already picked that I want to buy, I think it's 19,000, and I've already gone and like tried it on and got it like fitted and this and that, and I can't wait. And then I want to travel and go on a holiday, just an actual holiday, not because I work everywhere I go. Like there's no off day. Like I'm like in another country, but I'm still in a cafe editing all day and going into bit. Like I just can't help it. It's so ingrained in who I am that it's really hard for me to switch off.
Having a break is so important as well, by the way. Being able to switch off. Because I found that this year when I book days off, I still go on my work phone. I'm answering work calls. I'm sending emails, and I go, I need to learn to just switch off, be detached.
I bet having a girlfriend helps you, because when I'm with a girl, it helps me actually calm down. It
does definitely help having a girlfriend. I just need to learn the switch between work and sort of just chilling out. Which is something that, again, that's one of my things for next year to do, to you know,
have that downtime.
Or this year, I should say, when you see this.
No, that's good. And then I want to get my teeth whitened and Invisalign. I want to get a hair transplant, and those are like my core goals of things that I want to do. And then I have a few other
like sub
goals, which is to go skiing. I want to eat more at nice restaurants. Which is something I don't actually do.
I definitely need to look at doing that one as well, to be honest.
Maybe that's something we can do together.
We reward ourselves.
I want to try new things, very vague. I want to replace watching any TV and films with reading, because I think reading is good, but I think reading is still sort of entertainment in a way. Like everyone puts like a lot of emphasis on, you need to read and you need to do this, you need to do that. There's only so much information that you actually need before you just need to go and do what you need to do. And once you actually do come across a hurdle, if you need to figure it out and read something, then like literally you Google it, you figure it out, you speak to someone on the phone, and you know what to do after that. So I think reading to a degree is just entertainment. There's no price on experience. Like you need the experience more than the knowledge up here, trust me. And then I want to considerably less social media, so I want to limit myself to 30 minutes a day. Cold showers every morning. I also want to dress very nicely. I want to buy 4 to 5 nice outfits, and I buy some nice sunglasses. And I also want to buy and design a beardo work outfit. So I basically want my work outfit to be like this, but I want it to be a black hat, black tight fit t-shirt, black jacket like this, but it has like beardo media all over it. I also want to do like speeches and presentations at like events and speak about my company. So
that's touching on the speeches and presentations and whatnot. They are great in terms of being able to get what you're trying to get across. Because you do a few, and the first few are never going to be where you want them to be. But you kind of learn it as you keep going. Things like that, man, they're vital to do. They're vital to do.
My boxing coach Frank, we went after training on Monday, and he helped me. He kept on getting me to practice it and perform it and this and that.
It's definitely good. The repetition of doing that stuff gets you more at ease with doing it. You also learn a flow. I could say to you the same words you would say, but if I present them in a different way, if I learn when to pause, if I learn when not to pause for effect and whatnot,
it has so much more of an impact.
It carries it 100%. But you'll find your feet with that. I know you will, just because I know you and I know sort of your work ethic. So I'd look forward to seeing that for sure.
Thank you.
So Mine are very different to yours. Going into it, mine are very different. For me, saving for a property is definitely at the top of the list. Me and Ella, we're going on 2 nice holidays next year, but I really want that to be the year where I start exploring different countries. We're going to Mexico and Malta. Your typical standard English holidays, going to somewhere like Spain or somewhere like that, which, don't get me wrong, nothing against it, it's always good to go on holiday. I just want to see more of the world. So year after next I want to go to Australia and Japan. Like, I want to see the world. I want to go over I want to explore different. I really want to go there. I'd be tall. I'd be considered tall. It would be mad. So I just want to see different cultures. I want to gain a better perspective than what I've currently got. And seeing different cultures.
You want to go next year?
Well, when you're seeing this, it'll be next year, because this year we're going to Mexico.
No. You want to go 2024?
Yeah, I want to go to 2024.
Maybe I'll try and catch you out there or something.
Yeah, why not? 100%. Because when you go somewhere like Australia, you do a stop off, and you either go to like China, Japan. I think Vietnam might be one as well.
If we can go to those countries, then. If we're not blown up or something.
Fingers crossed. Yeah. Fingers crossed. But yeah, so I really want to get out there and explore a bit more, because I think, as I said to you, it's important to reward yourself. That will be the way in which I'm rewarding myself while saving and working. So for me, that would be my sort of way of doing it. And I think for me, a lot of the goals also consist of our podcast goals.
What are they? Oh, just in terms of what we spoke about. Because I know this for you is like a big thing.
Yeah, for sure.
This is like your
I think for both of us to attach our name to anything, due to our work ethic, it's to be good at what we're doing and make it better. Whether it be sort of ideas on visuals, whether it be bringing up the performance of mics, or whether it be content, obviously a main thing. Getting that to a level where, you know, we watch it back and go, I didn't think we could do that. Like, do you know what I mean? So it's getting content to a point where you admire it and go, geez, like, I want to set a level and then keep trying to build on it. So for me, they're my main sort of goals, really. It's not trying to get to a certain viewership. It's not trying to have a certain amount of people subscribe, because don't get me wrong, it would be great. But if you've got everything else correct, the rest of it will just find its way.
So and that's like a thing for us. Like, not once. Like, obviously we've said like, okay, cool. Like it'll be cool. Like, our first goal is like 100 subscribers. I definitely think for us, this podcast isn't about trying to get views and trying to get that. Like, we are definitely doing this because we enjoy doing this. Like,
and I think that's the main takeaway. When we watch it back, I feel like we feel that, which is why we get excited to do the next one, which is why we like doing this. Doing like a podcast for us, I can only describe it as like that kind of satisfaction you get after you've gone to the gym. Like, it's like a nice satisfaction you get after like sitting down, you're talking, and then we get to watch it back, and then we add feedback, and especially like our second podcast was considerably better than our first podcast, and like that felt nice, because we was like, we're figuring out. Like, I think one thing that we've taken away from it is every time after we've done one, we've either learned something or we thought that we've bettered the content of what we provided the one before 100%. With, which is a sign of learning, and it's exactly the point where we want to be. We're both people that we can be our own harshest critics. But we can also appreciate when something's on the right path and where we're going with it.
100%.
So in terms of that, they're sort of where I am. We're actually looking to make there be sort of like a permanent stay segment in future podcasts, where we sort of break it up with a little bit of a game. As you saw with the last one, it was cop or drop with the Christmas presents. And this time it's going to be 10 questions that we both have to sort of break into. So what these questions are, on the base of it, I answer it, Kai answers it.
About each other.
We'll answer it about each other.
See how well we know each other.
Exactly that. So I've got 10 questions. So we answer these about each other. So what we do, we go in an order. I'll read out the question. Kai gives his answer, I give my answer. We go from there. So, what embarrasses you the most? So you have to answer this about me. What embarrasses me the most?
Like on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Is it like someone?
Don't hold no punches.
Oh. Okay. Because I'm like, I don't want to say that. I don't wanna say
If he goes, you're fat, and I go, no, people annoying me.
No, I thought it was going to be people like being like loud and bringing like attention to themselves, like while they're with you.
What? Oh, so I find that embarrassing. Like, yeah, 100%. That 100% is. I hate attention. Yeah. I hate walking into a room and people go like that, and there's eyeballs in you, like on you, and that. I'm not a fan of that.
I'm quite the opposite. I'm here, bitches.
So my answer to what embarrasses you the most, you're someone that doesn't get embarrassed easy.
No.
So I think with yours it's going to be a bit of a deeper thing that maybe you joke about. If it's going to be embarrasses.
Don't hold no punches.
I think this isn't a shot.
No, go on, just say how it is.
Your hair.
You think?
100%.
What gives you that impression?
One, being what your hair was like before.
Those locks.
Yeah.
God damn.
I was showing Ella's mum it the other day.
What's she like?
Because she was like, oh, so what does Kai look like? Because you always wear a hat. So.
Oh shit! Yeah, I've actually realised on the podcast.
Yeah, you always wear a hat. So that's where I also go into it, because I think that might be why. Don't get me wrong, my forehead embarrasses the fuck out of me. Gust of wind blows.
I was actually more embarrassed about my hair when I had long hair, because I had a big forehead.
Right.
But yeah, I would actually see. I think people would argue this because I want to get a hair transplant. I think people think, oh, well, you feel a way about your hair, but it's like, no. Did you see what I looked like with hair? Are you crazy?
Yeah.
To just deny myself of looking like that again would be stupid.
Men care about their hair just as much as women do.
Yeah,
I was talking to my barber about it earlier. Josh, shout out Josh, I said I would. Men care just as much as women.
Yeah.
100% about their hair. It's fact.
Yeah. And so I actually like the way I look with it bald, and if I'm honest, I actually get a better reception with women being bald.
But what do you prefer?
I prefer hair.
Yeah.
I 100% prefer hair, and that's why I want to get a hair transplant. Yeah. But I don't actually.
That's why I thought that might be your most.
No, I don't actually think that's my most embarrassing.
What would you say it is?
I think when I get embarrassed, it's usually when I've had a girlfriend that's embarrassed me in public.
So similar to, say, like the attention thing, but it's due to like a
negative situation happening, and it like bringing negative attention. I don't mind like being blah 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 blah, but like say for example, something that really embarrassed me was so me and my ex-girlfriend, the caravan site we were staying at, they had a party. My ex-girlfriend was being just really off with me the whole party. As soon as we got there, like I'm like trying to speak to her, and she's like ignoring me and like walking off in there, and I'm like why is she being weird? Like I'm just mind fuck. Anyway, so the whole time she's being weird, and anyway, the older lady that owns the park with her husband, I'm like trying to talk to my ex, like trying to cheer her up as I do. And then she goes to me, oh, do you want to come dance? And I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. And she grabs my hand and she like pulls me to go dance.
I can see how this was going.
I've gone to like grab my ex's hand to like pull her as well, and she like looks at me and she like turns away, like, and she storms off.
Disgusted,
and then she's like made this big scene, and everyone's like looking and this and that, and then the lady at the park goes to me, don't be a dickhead and go after her.
Yeah.
Don't be soft and go after her. But that
is the exact response that should have been given, and that's the exact thing that should have been done.
And me being a dickhead and being too soft and being how I was at the time, I go after her. She's like locked herself in the park toilets, and I'm like, what's up? Like, what's wrong? Like, talk to me. And it's like a whole situation, and then everyone's like telling me not to leave, and then that shit embarrasses.
Who do you look up to the most?
Ooh.
Is the question. So who do you look up? I think I know who you look up to the most.
Okay.
I think.
Actually know who you look up to.
I don't think you're going to get.
Is it like
one.
Is it like a? No, it's not a footballer.
No.
It's not Frank Lampard, is it?
Definitely not.
Alright. Who do you... Oh, Ryan. Is it like a motivational person?
To me, yeah, they are.
Alright. It's not one of the Spice Girls. I I don't know, Ryan, but I want to say someone.
Yeah.
Is it in like a area of kind of like?
It's not someone famous.
It's. Lee?
No, it's not
Ace's
Lee.
dad.
Yeah, Ace's dad. I think he's definitely inspirational.
Yeah.
For sure, but he's not the person for me. The person for me is my dad. It's the person I look up to the most. No, genuine. My dad in his life, he's been through a lot of hard times and he's not give up. So I think that's just a nice thing to look up to your parents. If there's someone that you can look up to, is always a good thing, especially if they've sort of gone through their own hardship and then come out the other end. Like to touch on it, my dad helped raise my older sister, who wasn't actually his. And at the age he did that, it's a big test of someone. So for me, just sort of the way he dealt with that and the way that he's kind of grown and become sort of a better dad as he's got older, for me is an inspirational thing. So I look up to my dad the most out of anyone.
That is such a lovely answer, Ryan.
I've never told him this either.
Well, hopefully he watches
never
the
told
podcast.
him.
You can send him a timestamp and be like, here you go.
So Dad, don't watch all of it, just watch this.
Merry Christmas. No, that's actually so nice. And see, that makes sense with a lot of things you've said, because a lot of opinions that I have where I'm very like, cut for this is it makes sense, because obviously I can't relate, not even with my mum. And so, I mean, that is just such a nice, pure thing that you've just said, and that is like... that makes me feel warm inside.
My answer could have easily been my mum, but I think seeing my dad's... No.
That is a big joke.
I think seeing my dad's progression as he's got older, I think that is something, the way you sit there and go, oh yeah, like I can sort of admire that and go, as I get older, I want to be better. So as I'm seeing that from you, you're inspiring me to want to do the same. So that's why I picked my dad. For you, the person you look up to the most, I feel like you're going to say it's a famous person, but in my head I've got someone else, and maybe you don't realise. You
can say both.
Maybe you don't realise. I don't know the famous person, but outside of that, I'd probably say Frank.
Ooh.
Now the reason I say Frank is because he's always a figure that you like. His opinion always holds weight to you.
Yeah. I think
because he's someone that you respect. I don't know if it's a look up to, but that is who I'd go to. Yeah.
Frank is like my dad, bruv.
Yeah.
But just not my dad.
Which is why I'd say Frank. I think he has played an important part in your life.
Yeah.
And I think Frank.
Yeah, you're right.
I think if you're being honest as well, I think you'd say Frank.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right, because I go to Frank for like any piece of advice that I need. Frank is like,
he's like a parent figure that you didn't have.
Yeah, it's made me upset you saying that.
Why?
I don't know.
I think that's a great thing to acknowledge though, personally, because there's a reason why he means so much. Like we were at your birthday and he was there with all of your friends and everything. Like, he's a good guy, man. He's a good guy, and I can see why. Like, not everyone you look up to has to be famous or, you know, have a certain importance to everyone else. But as long as they have that to you, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Big up Frank, man. Big up Frank.
He's been... Yeah,
he's a good man.
I can speak... I've got so many stories, and he's been there for me, like 100, and outside of boxing, he's just like a part of my family, bro. He is, he's a very good man.
And you can see that when you two are together. You can see it when you two are together. At your fight, when I see you two talking, it's like, I can see how much this man, like, his opinion means to you. And in no way is that a bad thing. Everyone's got that. Not all heroes are superheroes. Some people can be there just, you know, the guy from the boxing gym that some people might just see as him, to you it may not hold that importance. It holds a lot more. So for me, it's 1-1. Right, let's go on to the third one. If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be? I think for you it's going to be an easier one for me to list, given what you want to do in 2023.
What?
You want a hair transplant and you want to do your teeth.
Yeah.
I'm going to say the hair transplant thing again.
Yeah.
because if I say your teeth, it sounds like I'm just taking bare shots. And I don't think you've got bad teeth.
No, I do, yeah, my teeth. I'm calm with my teeth, but
yeah.
I'm a perfectionist.
Yeah,
so
I get you.
Know,
so I'd say the hair transplant is the thing that you'd change about yourself if you could.
Yeah, I think.
Given that you are going to be changing.
If that's a physical thing.
Yeah, physical thing. Yeah.
Physical.
We're going with physical.
Physical.
Yeah.
Transplant. I'd say if it's like a inside thing. I mean, that's too deep.
We'll stick to the physical.
Yeah, I'd say hair. And for you, I would say it's either going to be your hair or maybe like your body.
Yeah. Be body, 100%. Yeah. So throughout the year, when you see podcasts come in and you go, Ryan's looking a bit slimmer.
Yeah.
Ryan's fixing himself, you know. So give me some time.
Give me some time. Bro. That is the energy.
I walked into Ella's house the other day and her sister goes, Ryan, you're looking slim. And I was like, I'm not, but thank you.
I'll take it.
I'll take it. Well, 100%.
That's good.
Leading on to another one. Have you ever had your fortune told?
Yeah, this is gonna be an interesting one.
So you have, and I have.
Okay, so we've answered that. Are we diving in? Are we going in?
I'll briefly touch on mine, right? I'll briefly touch on it, and this is why I think everyone should have their fortune told, right?
Yeah.
I had my fortune told by Ace's granddad, or if you want to say fortune told, or someone that that can hear spirits and whatnot, all falls under the same bracket. I had Ace's granddad talking to me at a time, and this was when I was going through a time of hardship, and this was when I was actually living there, but none of my sort of reason for why I was living there at the time had been explained. And everything he had said was spot on to a T, to the situation I was going through at the time. So everything he said was so spot on. The situation I was going through at the time, and also the situation I'm in now, has stayed true to what I was told.
Yeah.
And I won't divulge into exactly what it was, but he said to me, the next girl, this was in February, I think, and he said to me, the next girl I meet is going to be the one. This girl's going to basically look like Ella, be like Ella, have Ella's family set up. And I was like, okay, don't think that's true, but okay, carry on.
Yeah.
And then it's literally all fallen into place, and it's so weird, like the way it's happened. So for me, some people could say coincidence, but given what I was going through at the time, him being so spot on about it, I had my fortune told, and I would have it told again. What about you?
Yeah, I've had my fortune told twice, actually. The first time was by a lady called Irene, I think. She actually passed away, R.I.P.
Rest in peace, sorry.
Rest in peace. And she told me some interesting things. Long story short, I'm going to make a lot of money out in nature. She told me about like my caravan and this and that, and said that a lot of women want to be with me. She said, but I'll only pick one to bring with me. She also told me that I was a reincarnated Egyptian king.
Take that.
Take it.
I think I'm a reincarnated Frank Sinatra. He died on the day I was born, 40th for the 5th, 1998.
Okay.
So makes sense of why I love his music so much.
I've heard your singing.
No, he said, look, I wish I sounded like Frank Sinatra. A part of it was missed off. God had his way. Like, he touched something in it, but yeah, sorry, I digress. So carry on.
And then so I've also had a reading from Ace's granddad. It was pretty spot on. Long story short, just said basically what has happened in my life. A few things haven't happened yet. Hoping that will happen.
Yeah. Because that's the important thing about the readings as well, is it's not time specific. Yeah. It doesn't mean you've gone through it. Yeah. It's just what spirits are saying, and it's could be something that happens next week. It could be in 10 years. Like that's how you have to look at it. But then also not live your life based on what you've been told. Yeah. Carry on.
Nah,
and just sort of know what's been said, sort of thing.
Yeah, and everything that I remember of it. I don't want to go into like specifics because it's kind of like too personal. I feel. It's like happened, but the last thing I think is going to happen as well. I'm just something's going to happen with 4 people. It's not a gangbang. But yeah, so I think am I allowed to say it? Does it jinx
I probably wouldn't say it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna,
I've not repeated any of my ones.
Yeah.
I've only repeated stuff that's happened.
Yeah.
So then that way, I may have jinxed it, but
yeah, like I've gone away, broke up with my ex, like all of this stuff, like opportunities come, this has happened, stuff's happened that I thought was gonna happen, then didn't happen, then happened, and then so it's all it's panning out.
It's mad. It's mad. Go get your fortune.
Even
told.
with Jack.
He's was spot on as well. I was in the kitchen as it was happening.
Yeah,
and I was like,
he's a spot. Yeah.
So go get your fortune told, but make sure it's not someone that's ripping you off. Make sure it's someone that knows what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Right. What was the last lie you told?
Ryan. Oh shit!
I know exactly what mine was.
Alright, do I have to guess for you? No, you get it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have to tell it.
Go on.
So, I'm going around there tonight.
Oh no, what's happening? What is it?
It's not deep. It's not deep. It was just Ella's mum asked me if I wanted to come around for dinner. I said no. I've got loads of food at home. I had nothing at home. Do you know what it was? I just wanted to be at home. I just wanted to be by myself that day. Like genuine. Sometimes you have them.
Yeah.
And
she's gonna be screaming when she watches.
Yeah, I know. I didn't want to say no. I just want to be alone tonight, sort of thing. So I lied and said I've just been out shopping. I've got loads of food. That night I didn't actually eat.
But that's fair enough because
it was a white lie. It was a white lie.
I didn't tell a lie because I was very busy. But I was supposed to go around to Ace's for dinner recently, and I just didn't feel good within myself, and I also was busy, and I just was like, sorry, I'm very busy, but I also didn't mention that. I just wanted to be by myself.
Yeah, which is fine. I think we've touched on it before. Having alone time is very important, and I think at the time it was something we both felt was easier to sort of tell a white lie as opposed to going into something that's quite deep.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, not the juicy stuff you lot wanted, but we're nice, honest people. So what can I say?
The last lie I've told.
Because I really don't lie.
I mean, yeah, me neither. I'm very honest, which is like a thing.
Yeah.
Of mine.
Sometimes I'm too honest, which is actually a negative for some people.
I think the last lie I told was that so when I went and picked up my stuff from my ex's house, we had like a conversation, and she said, "Oh, I don't trust you because you'll have a conversation like this and then probably go away and chat shit behind my back, chat shit about me." I said, "Oh no, I won't." And that was the lie.
That lie's okay.
Yeah,
that lie doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Well, moving on to the next one. What would you consider your best physical feature is? So what do you think mine is, and what do I think yours is? I think yours is your figure, like in terms of like your build, like your muscular. Yeah, 100%.
That's mad that you say that.
I think 100% is that.
Oh shit.
Throughout the time when we do podcasts, guys, if you want to go back and watch what we film, the amount of times you'll see Kai going, I think it's come from a place of hard work, because you did get to a point where you got heavier and whatnot, and you've worked that down.
Yeah.
So I think that's. I think that's right for you to appreciate that.
Thank you. I mean, I really don't feel that way, but
no.
Thank you. I mean, for you, would it be like your face, like your eyes?
It would be my eyes, 100%.
Yeah, you have banging eyes.
It's the eyes. Yeah,
the eyes, chico, they never lie.
What would be yours? What would you consider yours to be?
Alright, if I was to be on like what I do get
like complimented
the most, it would either be like, I'm gonna sound like so arrogant. Oh my god, it would either be my face.
Say your cock.
That
I thought that's right.
That is like but no, I can't lie.
I just couldn't be the one to say it. Like at the start, it's like it must be your cock kind. Just go and say that.
No, it would be like, don't get twisted. Did I tell you when I was like, I took off my trousers? Yeah, I was like getting intimate with some girl, and I saw her eyes look down there, and then she like looked away as if like, oh Jesus Christ. Like, it was but anyway, but if I was the thing that I get the most compliments for, it would either be my face, my eyelashes, or my eyebrows.
Fair play.
So
I've learned eyebrows are very important.
If I say my best feature.
Yeah.
Oh, but then sometimes my car. I'm joking.
That head to toe lap.
Just
looking a bit.
My best feature. What? My best. I don't know, bro. My face, maybe.
Yeah. That's a fair one. You can use that.
Because even when I was fat, like I still got compliments about my face, and I didn't feel like I didn't feel like it. I don't look at myself and think, yeah, but I just go off of like it's kind of just analytical if you add up like the things that anyway. I don't like talking about this because it makes me feel arrogant and like fucking.
Well, look, we're going to the next one. Who was your favourite teacher in school?
What?
Given the fact that we went to school together,
I would have definitely banged Miss Glasgow.
Okay, so you're still on the fit topic.
I still would, because I follow her on Instagram. I actually messaged her.
Okay, well this is okay.
I would get with Miss Glasgow. She just, do you know what it is?
So she's your favourite teacher?
I think because of her, that's what made me get into like hippie girls.
Okay.
A bit, like outdoorsy girls.
So you've gone somewhere completely different than what I was going with my teacher.
Well, who's your favourite teacher?
Mine was Miss Shukla. Do you remember Miss Shukla?
No, it sounds...
Right, so let me run Miss Shukla down quick. I'll say...
Is it?
We'll bleep that out. That's being bleeped.
Yeah, this.
Miss Shukla was my dinner lady at junior school, which then went on to be a high school teacher who would assist with maths.
Okay.
So during high school...
What else does she assist with?
Maths.
Okay.
And English.
Just wondering.
No, she's a very smart woman, and she helped so much throughout maths. I was someone that my attendance through school was shocking. My anticipated grade for maths was an A. My attendance was so poor, I was getting E's and everything in all my mocks. We all went to maths class with her. When I say all, some of me and my other friends at the time, we went into her class and would do maths with her. And I got my test level up to a B from an E and whatnot. And oh no, I don't know. Miss Perryman was a good teacher. Shit. Probably actually Miss Perryman. Change it. Miss Perryman.
What, a science teacher? The Irish one?
No, Ginger, hospitality and catering lady.
I can't remember.
She's the reason why I passed hospitality and catering.
Yeah.
She saw potential in me that I didn't see it myself at the time, which was like some sort of like level of belief. And yeah, she was a great teacher, a really, really good teacher. For sure.
Fair play. I think mine would be. There's a couple. I'm going to give a couple of.
It can't be based on how they look.
Okay. So Miss Hart.
It can be.
I'm just gonna say a couple. So Miss Hart. I was like 7 years old. I was in year 2. I had a teacher called Miss Hart, and I remember I used to fancy the shit out of her, and I would always fantasize about banging her when I was 7. I know that is really weird.
Okay.
But like, I would always...
That's where you were at the time. That's just where your mind went.
That's just what I was thinking about. And then there was someone called Mr. Barron who I had, I think, in year 5, and he was really strict on me. And I think he upon reflection, I think he knew
he knew what you needed.
Where I didn't have a dad, and obviously he saw what my mum was like. He was very hard on me, and like he always used to say to my mum, "You need to put him into I think was it like the Royal Air Force." Or like one like the scouts.
Oh, kind,
yeah, because he was a part of it, and he was. I think he was a chef actually as well. And he was like very hard on me, but he used to have these talks with me as well. And him, and then Miss Glasgow, the one that I mentioned that I wanted to bang, not because of the way she looked, but also because she actually used to speak with me, and she said to me, "You can voice your opinion without shouting." And you don't have to shout and get annoyed and get worked up to get your point across. And she said, you're very intelligent, and if you learn how to actually speak and use your words, you can have a much better like kind of standing point. And she always used to say like, you're much better than that and this and that, and made me feel like, oh. And then the last one would be Mr. O'Brien.
Maths teacher.
Yeah, he was just a nice guy, and his similar vibes. He used to have like those kind of chats with me and be like, you could be better than this sort of thing, even though it's just
because it makes you think about it at the time. And the thing that people don't realise, which is why I say to my missus, like when I sit there and think, like when I went through school, one thing that I wish I went to do is go through uni and actually look at potentially being a teacher, because good teachers, they hold weight with you like as you grow up. Like you'll sit there and be like, oh, I didn't like school, but I have favourite teachers.
Stick to the podcasting, bro.
Yeah. I'll stick to that. And
you do not want to go
handles and
you do not want to go earn 21k a year.
Do you know what I mean though?
Fucking like, if your whole entire, I do know what you
as
do,
a teacher, you
start an online course or something. But
you can have such a big effect on someone's life just by the way that you speak with them at a certain point.
Yeah, no, it's true. It is true. It is so true.
It can really sit with them. So don't think good teachers are appreciated enough, especially by two kids that weren't the best at school. Right, so moving on to the next one. What do you think you'll be like when you're older? So let's say old age. What is an 80-year-old Kai looking like?
I see myself being quite similar, actually. I think I'm going to be young at heart. I'm definitely going to be one of those guys that are like down with the kids type thing. I see myself being like quite young and quite young spirited. I don't see myself changing that. I don't see it
that changing.
How about you?
I see myself as being like the granddad that the grandkids love, but then probably like someone like my wife would hate. like maybe, I don't know if I'd say grumpy old man, but like I'd have like a switch. Obviously, like with like my little brothers, and little sisters, I've grown up with like kids being around me and whatnot, and it's always like there's like a fun, like playful side that kids can bring out of people. And I feel like that would continue to be the same however old I get. But I feel like I might grow old and be a bit more sour at life. So that's where I might be. So I might be quite grumpy, but my grandkids might love me.
I see that. I definitely see myself being like, still be like bantering people who are 18 and at 80 years old, still giving it like
being witty and Well, what's the worst decision you've ever made?
Ryan, these questions, bro. Alright, well, you answer this.
You want me to answer it first?
Yeah, well, this was the game, wasn't it?
Well, answer about you. What's the worst one you've ever made? Going travelling with the specific person you went travelling with.
I mean, I don't know if that's the worst decision I've ever made, but there's a bad decision.
There, isn't it?
Yeah,
there's definitely
but we can't speak about that.
We won't talk about it.
We can't speak about that.
But that's what I think that is for you.
Yeah. I mean, if we're like for the podcast, between us, we know. That was the worst decision I've ever made. Yeah, and for you, can I say? Just tell me to bleep it. If not, I mean, definitely fucking starting to gamble. Yeah, that's the most. Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
We'll leave that as that. We'll leave it as that.
You know, Harry Pinero had a gambling problem.
Did it?
But I can edit that.
Bro, it can grab you, man.
He done 100k.
Yeah, bro, it's easily done. I'm not surprised at all. Especially if you've got the sort of bread he's got. Because I was gambling a lot, and I had a lot less than what he's got. So I get that. Right, final question. Do you feel like you have a healthy relationship with social media? I'm going to answer yours. I think you do. But given obviously the list of things that you've read out, I think because you work as hard as you do, you also have an obsession with it, which can be classed as healthy if you like, because of with work you need to be up to date with social media. But I think overall your overview of it is healthy. Yeah,
thank you. Let me ask you a question before. How often do you scroll a lot?
Not really.
Well, yeah, I don't think that you have it.
My screen time at the end of the day is probably about 4 hours.
Yeah, mine's between 4 and 7. But it's because I'll have both phones unlocked, sat there while I'm on my computer.
That's the thing. It depends what I'm doing. Like if I'm planning, say like when we go through a podcast, for example, and I'm going through a list of ideas, I will be on my phone for an hour more that day. So as long as it's productive
on our phones as well. But I don't feel like you have a unhealthy relationship with social media.
Yeah, I don't really touch it, to be honest.
Yeah, and to comment on what you said. So when I said I want to limit my time to like half hour max a day, it's just sometimes I can, when I'm out of routine, I can find myself scrolling a bit more than what I would like to.
So a bit more pessimistic, sort of. Yeah,
not because I'm like, oh, I'm addicted. Oh my god, and listen, oh my god, I want to be like these people that I see on social media. It's not that. It's just sometimes I can just
sometimes boredom and it's
a
just
bit more.
Yeah, you get carried away.
It's just like I can just scroll sometimes, and that's it. But no, I don't feel like I
No.
Yeah, that was really fun.
Well, yeah,
that was our game.
That was a little segment which we're going to look to add things like this in as we've touched on before.
So you let us know if you enjoy it in the comments below, and while you're there, hit that subscribe button and hit the like button as well
as share. Share around. Let other people see if it's content you think is.
Don't be selfish. Don't be fucking selfish.
Yeah, it is New Year.
Share the fucking video.
Make it your resolution for the year.
Exactly.
Share our podcast.
Yeah, that's a great fucking. Oh my god. Boom.
Make it yours. Well, look, guys, that's it for the podcast today. It is. It is indeed.
What the fuck was it? I was having so much fun.
It's gone quick.
Oh shit, that's annoying.
But that is it for today, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in.
Thank you.
Please do make sure you give us your feedback. Hopefully you've learned a little bit more about us and our plans for the year. So
and you get to if you listen to our podcast, you get to actually find out how things go.
Yeah, you come on the journey with us.
Yes.
Come on the journey with us.
And make sure to do everything that we just said.
Yeah.
Like subscribe, like, and Ryan. That was a great podcast. I'm so sad that this is ending. I was really enjoying that. Like, I'm genuinely actually like.
It was a good one. It went on for a bit longer than we thought.
Yeah, it is going to be a long podcast. I don't even think we're going to be able to cut that much out because it's a good podcast. I think we're just going to have to let it run.
Yeah.
It's a New Year's one. People will be at home.
Yeah.
They don't have work. Hopefully you guys enjoy this. We definitely have.
100%.
In a bit.
See you on the next one.